Okay, let's start. Hi guys, my name is Lena Casilla. So I'm going to be talking today about social media, who we are online, and how it affects us. Specifically, what a parasocial relationship is, and how it shapes our identity and who we are in real life. We'll be talking about self-concept, social comparison, and impression management. Most of us, I think, in this generation at least, use social media of some sort. So we'll be talking about how posting, comparing the people that we follow, and being followed can change the way we see ourselves in real life. And I'm really excited to talk about this because it's really relevant. Okay, first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever changed a post or changed your mind about yourself because of how you thought people would react? Have you ever just went back and been like, I'm going to delete this because it's not the right angle, or people are going to think of me, oops, my face is gone, in a different way? So that's something to be really just mindful of, because social media can give us an audience. Even if nobody comments, if nobody likes, we'll have that awareness in our mind that we posted something and it's out there for people to see. So that imagined audience can influence what we show, what we hide, and what we value in life. So we tend to put our best foot forward in life because that's how we want to be perceived. And that's something that's not really based in reality. The psychology begins before we even press post because we're just always analyzing how people will perceive us. The reason I chose this topic, because you might be like, well, this is random, even though it's relevant, of course. I have a lot of friends who are influencers, and it's been really interesting to see over the years how they are in real life and who they are on social media, how it influences themselves, even as influencers, So for me, it's a different angle, but we're going to be talking about how our use affects us, the consumers. Cool. Yeah, so identity, we all know, is not a fixed thing. We all have a different worldview. We all think differently. And our identity grows out of several parts of the self. First, we have the self concept, our beliefs and ideas about who we are. Two, we have our self esteem, how positively or negatively we evaluate ourselves. Three is the social identity, the parts of me connected to my groups and communities. It's who we are at church, who we are at school, who we are in our family as siblings. And then lastly, self concept clarity, how stable, consistent, and clear my sense of self feels. Do we have a clear picture of who we are, or are we just putting the person we'd like other people to think we are, if that makes sense? So social media can strengthen these parts or make them feel dependent on an audience, which is kind of sad when you think about it. But there's pros and cons in everything. We'll get into that. Cool. So the first part is identity formation. Social media works like a digital social mirror. You look in the mirror, but it's actually social media. Who are you online? Have you paused recently to think who you are online? Self-presentation. What do you prefer to show? Do you prefer to show only the good sides, the highlights, the reels? That's we all know that's not a real reality. It's just the highlights. We have our downs and we have our ups, but most people don't like to show the downs because they're not appealing on social media. Some people are vulnerable with that, and it influences how we view them as well. Social comparison. We see a lot of people comparing themselves on social media as well. Am I skinny enough? Am I thick enough? Do I fit in? You start comparing them, and we all know that social media, social comparison decreases our self-esteem if we're doing it all the time. And just even having social media actually decreases our self-esteem, unfortunately, especially in adolescence. Role models, who do you copy? Who do you look up to every single day? And then you have your online audience, whose feedback you guys anticipate. We all anticipate. Even if it's just friends, even if you're not an influencer, you're posting for these people. You're posting for your friends, your family, or that random guy you met at the market. You're thinking about them when you're sending posts. Awesome. We have our references down there as well. Our self-presentation, impression management. So your offline self is, like I said, messy. Life is not perfect. We wake up, we don't look perfect. We don't look like the person sometimes that we post on social media. If you guys know the show Catfish, I mean, that's taking it to the extreme, but like online is not reality. So, our real self is more private. It's full of contradictions. It's messy, and that's okay. That's beautiful. So instead, we go through filters to make ourselves look good. We want to find the perfect caption. We spend a long time sometimes on the perfect caption because it can make us seem like smart or dull. So we want to put, again, our best foot forward. We edit the bad parts if we have pimples, if we have something. I'm sure you guys have seen like somebody editing their behind to look bigger or something for girls. And we select the perfect photo. I've seen some of my girlfriends take 1,000 pictures, literally 1,000 pictures, and then they select like 5 of them to post on social media, and it's like a selfie. So that's pretty crazy. I mean, I do this to be honest. I'm not gonna be fake on here since I'm talking about this. Sometimes I look through my camera roll and I'm like, why did I just take like 15 selfies? What is this all for? And then I start deleting them, but then I go ahead and choose the best one. So I think the process of selection is really important for social media. If my voice is shaky, I'm outside and it's a little bit cold. Okay. Impression management. So yeah, trying to control how other people see us. So our authentic self can become a performance, our curated self. Even though we think that we're being authentic, we're sharing authentic information, that can really be created at the same time. So the problem is not that we're presenting ourselves online, but rather the problem begins when the presented self feels like the only acceptable self. So the perfect image that you put forward, you're going to start to stay consistent with it. If you put a certain image of yourself, you don't want to look less than, or you don't want to sound less smart or something like that. And that can really take a toll on our mental health. The comparison part. Comparison is of the devil. Of course, we all know this wisdom. Social comparison, the feed becomes a measuring stick for our self-worth. There's an upward comparison where we compare ourselves to someone who's better than us, that we look up to, that we admire. And there is a downward comparison, comparing myself, I wrote that twice, with someone who seems worse off to make ourselves feel better. So the upward comparison, the person can inspire you or make you actually feel inadequate. Oh my gosh, like this person has so much in their life. They've worked so hard. What am I doing here? I mean, we've all seen like the 20-year-olds with Bugattis, and we're like, oh my God, I'm like 27 and I'm so behind on life. You're not behind. It's just social media. It's not real. Downward comparison. It can create gratitude or temporarily protect my ego because you're comparing yourself to somebody who's worse off. So instead of just focusing on your own life, you always want to compare it. And again, that can really get us in our heads. So on social media, we often compare our whole life to someone else's most edited moment. It's really important to always remember, since we're all on this platform, that, it's the highlights. Social media is just the highlight reels. Enough said there. Feedback and influence. Likes are tiny social signals, but they can feel like a verdict. When I was younger, when I was like 15, something on my screen, when I was like 15, 16, I used to look at like counts. Oh, this post got 50 likes. What did I do wrong? This post got 300 likes. And then I start to study it. I'm like, is it because of the way that I was posing? Is it because of my facial expression? Is it because of the caption? So there is a pattern. You post, you present the best version of yourself. Second, there's feedback. There's the likes, the views, the comments, or the silence. Da-da-da. Then there's the interpretation. What does it say about me? And then you go on to the next post. Boop. You repeat it. You adjust what you know to make the next post feel better. There's a normative social influence that goes with it. So changing your behavior to gain more approval or avoid rejection, not gain rejection. Self-fulfilling loop. Again, we're going in a circle. The content that gives approval, you're going to repeat more of. It's going to become part of your identity because you don't want the social disapproval. It's social disapproval on social media. It's almost like the equivalent of being ostracized in reality if you're not getting enough likes, or if nobody saw your reel or your post or whatever. And not every like changes us, but reinforcement can train us. So you start to create yourself to be liked online, to have the views and to have the likes. And that can become dangerous. We got the parasocial relationships. This is my favorite because it's not really talked about often, but we all know what influencers are, and we all know how much we look up to them. It's basically intimacy at a distance. If you see a celebrity or somebody you look up to so much, um, there's a weird dynamic going on. A parasocial relationship is a one-sided emotional bond with a media figure, influencer, celebrity, athlete, podcaster, or fictional character. It's a one-sided relationship because they don't know about you. You're the one following them. The viewer knows a lot about the creator. You might know every single detail. You might know their birthday. You might know what they like to eat for breakfast. But the creator, again, doesn't know you, doesn't know you exist. So that gives us a feeling of knowing the creator, of knowing the person. And this term was coined by Horton and Wall. And this term was coined in 1956, a long time ago, before influencers even existed. So I'm guessing he named this term because of like scientists and influencers back in the day. People also looked up to them and they admired them and come to the close point of worshiping. I'm sure we've all seen like concerts with crazy fans, like not attacking, but being overly excited about meeting their favorite celebrity. Actually, my favorite way to explain this is we all know Eminem. Eminem made a song named Stan. I'm sure we all know about Stan. Stan is actually a name for exactly what this is, a parasocial relationship. Eminem knows nothing about Stan, but Stan keeps writing him letters and being like, Eminem, I'm your favorite fan. I know you. You know me too. Oh my gosh, I love you. And he stays after this. And it's pretty creepy for the influencer and honestly for the person's life. It's like, why are you putting such a pressure on the person and yourself when it's all in your head? It's just an image. It's basically an illusion because the person doesn't even know you exist. So Stan is a person who is experiencing a parasocial relationship. Go and listen to that song. It's amazing. And it perfectly describes what it feels like to have a parasocial relationship. Stan's going crazy. Eminem's like, I don't know you, dude. Calm the hell down. Like, please. And again, we've all seen like fans going and like sprinting to hug their favorite celebrity, and the celebrity being like, dude, chill out, you know? It is tricky. The mechanisms. Why do these one-sided bonds feel so special? There's a mechanism to it. One is just mere exposure. The fan keeps on getting contact, which increases the familiarity. Stan thinks he knows Eminem, but he doesn't know Eminem. He just listens to his songs over and over and over. He has his records on repeat. Perceived familiarity that makes them think that the person thinks, struggles, or they live like them. That makes them relatable. Self-disclosure, of course, personal stories. Let's focus on Eminem for now. Like Eminem talking about his struggles and whatnot, and about detailed stories makes a stan feel like they know them, and it creates a feeling of closeness, right? Almost like Stan feeling like he's his best friend, but it's just one-sided. The social learning, we model attitudes, language, style, and behavior of that influencer. We start to talk like them, start to act like them, start to wear things like them, just because we think that we have something going on with them. So, for example, I remember the Kim Kardashian era. Girls still talk like the Kardashians. I like to do an impression of them. They're like, "Oh my god, like I just dropped my diamond in the water." And I think a lot of girls in California still talk like that. Like I went to school in Hawaii and I've met so many people from California and they all talk the same way from Los Angeles, like certain areas. So in my head, I'm like, okay, avoid going to those areas because it's just full of stands. Or maybe what we can call groupies. It's another term for it. Yeah, so influencers do this. They create that connection by doing little things like come get ready with me, or here's a DIY, daily routine, the eye contact, through the camera makes it feel that the person is tangible. They're there with you in real life. Inside jokes to make them seem like human. Also, your algorithm will just start repeating your exposure to these influencers. So it makes the creator feel like they're part of your daily life, especially when you have that subscribe button. Boop, on YouTube, they're always popping up now and they're part of your daily routine suddenly. Parasocial bonds can genuinely help people, so there is benefits, not gonna lie. It creates a feeling of belonging. Excuse me. If the person is struggling with something, fan communities can connect people with shared interests as well. Um, it can bring people together. For example, I like Lady Gaga. A lot of fans come together and have that shared weirdness going on and feel like they can fully express themselves without holding back. So there's something that good that can come out of it. The role models, creators can model confidence, coping, creativity, or new possibility. That's something really cool. They model a certain way of living that's maybe beyond the blueprint or the autopilot that the person's been living on their whole life, perhaps. It shows them a new way of living. Identity exploration, people can safely explore their values, styles, careers, and communities because there's somebody, right? Somebody that did it, you know? So it's not, they're not trailblazing a new path where they might get shunned, but perhaps there is a role model that has done it, so it's safe for me to explore now. They role model a certain way, which is good. And lastly, comfort. Familiar voices, stories can reduce loneliness in difficult moment. So when influencers share vulnerable stories or their hardship, it can make people feel like they're not alone in this world. Like somebody out there has a similar story to them, which we all know can feel really good, of course. So a parasocial relationship can supplement real relationships, but it cannot fully replace mutual care, accountability, and reciprocity. Again, they don't know that you exist. So how are they supposed to reciprocate the connection or the time that you spent watching their account? How can they check up on you every single day? Like they're not your friend, they're not your family member, and they're not going to hold you accountable for how you're spending your time or what you're consuming. Yeah, so that's really interesting. Potential harms. Yin yang. The risks begin when the boundary disappears. So, first, we have identity dependence. Who am I without this creator, trend, or audience? You can seek inspiration, but if you overly rely on the person, you begin to alter your personality, your behavior to fit into just this box of who this creator is. And then you mold your personality on who they are. Unrealistic comparison. A created lifestyle becomes a standard for normal living. We all see influencers being like, get ready with me. I wake up at 4 in the morning and then I go for a 2 hour run. Then I have coffee. You know, it's like, are you really doing that every day? And then people just believe that. And then they take that as a real reality to be lived, but it's unrealistic. You got the cognitive dissonance. We defend a creator because admitting harm conflicts with our attachment. If somebody attacks our favorite, uh, like I said, influencer, we're gonna feel like it's a part of ourself. Like, why are you attacking part of who I am? Because we've attached so strongly to them. Our brain doesn't register anymore that this is a separate entity than us and that we just gotta live our own life instead of being so attached to them. Entitlement and boundary violation. Following someone can create a false sense of access or ownership. You're just because you follow them doesn't mean that you know them, doesn't mean you have access to them. You actually have no idea what's going on in their life. You don't know who just passed away in their family. You're only watching the highlight reels. So there's really no boundaries because you think you're seeing everything, but you're not. You got the commercial influence. Yeah, we all see influencers selling a certain product. So that trust they built with you online and intimacy can make advertising feel like it's from a friend. I've scrolled on TikTok and I've seen a different way of females just talking to the audience, being like, "Hey, bestie, oh my God, guess what I just got for Christmas? And it's helped me so much in my life." And then they show you like, I don't know, like $400 face cream, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get this because bestie told me to get it. And you suddenly trust them because of wording, because of eye contact, because of the familiar voice if you keep on following them. So after all this is being said, a useful question would be, is this connection helping me build my life or helping me avoid it? Are you following this person because you don't want to look at certain parts of your life that you don't like? So you just rather doom scroll and look at the highlights and buy expensive products from people that you don't know. Let's see. Applying the concepts. What is happening here? So let's look at this mini case study for you guys to reflect on. Rita follows a wellness influencer every single day, let's say on TikTok. She feels understood because the creator shares anxiety and family struggles. She starts copying the creator's routines, clothing, and opinions. When the creator promotes an expensive supplement, like I just mentioned, Rita trusts it. Immediately, she eats it up. When friends criticize the creator, Rita feels personally attacked. So, which social psychology concept can explain Rita's reactions? Down there, I wrote parasocial relationship, perceived familiarity, social learning, cognitive dissonance, normative influence, and impression management. Now, with this case study, we're not trying to diagnose Rita, but instead we want to see, we want to see how these concepts can stack up in this specific scenario. So let's look at that. And also just I want you guys to examine for a second to maybe look at your own following, to go through it and think about who is helping and who is hindering you in your life. Which social influencers are you obsessing over? Or which ones are you just mildly taking advice from here and there? Which ones are shaping your thoughts, your behaviors, even your lifestyles, your daily routines? That's something to really think about because personally, I don't think social media is 100% harmful, nor is it 100% something good. Again, there's a yin yang to it. There's something we can all take, but we all have to be hyper aware, not just aware, in this, in this life, because you might be making decisions on autopilot and you don't know where that came from. And it could be the person that you're scrolling past every single day that you're automatically trusting, maybe like Rita. And then what I want us to remember, social media is a social environment. It's not just entertainment. You're looking at your likes, you're looking at your views, you're thinking about what to post before you post it. We use impression management to present ourselves and social comparison to evaluate ourselves. Again, we compare what person A has and what we have, what person B has and what we have, Parasocial bonds are real emotional experiences like Stan. We all see how passionate Stan is about Eminem, even though the relationship is one-sided. So the healthiest use supports identity exploration. We want to focus on identity exploration without making self-worth dependent on an audience. Your self-worth should never, ever, ever be dependent on an audience. We should always seek new experiences in life. Talk to real people. Talk to people at the coffee shop and explore who you are, not just through social media, but in real life. Because even though we like to think that social media is entertainment, it's really not. It is something that takes up a big chunk of our time. We've all checked our screen time and been horrified at ourselves. So I'd like you just to think about that and where you're spending your screen time. Is it on Netflix? Is it on YouTube? It doesn't just have to be an influencer on Instagram or TikTok, like the main social domains. It can also be Netflix because they're also actors and actresses. Yeah. So the final question is, how does your online identity feel like, or does your online identity feel like an expression of you? Are you expressing or a performance you have to maintain? Like I mentioned before, we all create our social profile to a certain degree, but we can control that degree to feel like we're being more authentic of who we are. And for me, at this point in my life, I can confidently say I don't care about views. I don't care about who's seen it. It's something fun for me to see. And then when I catch myself being like, oh, but person B didn't see my story, it's like, okay, well, person B is living their life, even if it's a friend, even if it's whoever. It's something that should be an entertainment, but really it's not. We do look at the people and we do look at the social interactions that are happening through that. These are my references. And to just top it up all together, I have a friend who's like really big on social media, and I didn't know he was a big influencer when I met him. And we became really close friends, and I got to see who he is inside as a person. And it's really interesting to see how him in his private life is actually very chill, very mellow. But on social media, he's this like crazy skydiver, full of adrenaline, this and that. But in real life, he's just a mellow, chill guy. And so meeting that aspect has been really interesting for me to see, because he's also posted on social media like a girl, like fans recognizing him in airports, stuff like that. And for me, I'm like what? And then also fans running after him and being like, hey, it's, oh my gosh, I love you. Oh my gosh. And it's like, when you see the video, it's almost like a reunion of like long lost friends, but his reaction's like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, I appreciate this. Thanks for following me. He's being cordial and kind, but the person's reaction, the consumer's reaction's like, I know you. Like, I know you, not just I follow you. So that's a parasocial relationship. And we all have to watch those because they can really take a toll, not just on our mental health, but on our personality, on our behaviors, on how we act in real life. I'd like you guys to seek exploration, self exploration for social media, to seek inspiration and to express. Don't try to impress, always seek to express, if that all makes sense. Thank you guys so much. I hope I ran into 25 minutes. And if you have any questions, you can always shoot it down in the discussion post. Thank you.